Alright, hi guys! So I watched a lot of videos before I went to MEPS on people who went to MEPS and were sharing their experiences, so I figured I'd do the same. So I'm going to jump right into it. I stayed at the hotel. You don't have to stay at the hotel, but I highly recommend it because I met a lot of cool people and it's just a cool experience. You get to the hotel, you put your stuff down, you get sent into a room, and the shippers are always going to be first priority, so anybody who ships is always going to be ahead of you. They sat all the new people together and they briefed us. You watch this 1990 video that's just very painful to watch, but gives you some information you should kind of pay attention to. After that, they sent the females into the room first. We had to give them our ID and our recruiter's name and number. And then she gave us our key card to get into our hotel room and 2 meal tickets. One's for breakfast, one's for dinner. So you get into the hotel room. The room's actually very nice. It's got 2 beds into it. I had a very nice bathroom. My roommate actually didn't show up, which was kind of sad, but I was kind of glad I got to have the room to myself. But the latest you can check in is 7, so you want to get there between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. After that, I went down and got dinner. It's like a buffet style. You enter the cafeteria, you give one of the people your ticket, and the food is actually really good too. And you get your food, you sit down. I sat with 3 girls. All 3 of them were, 2 were shippers for the Army, the other one was a processor, and they were really nice to talk to. One of the girls actually told me that she got DQ'd her first time because she was so nervous, her blood pressure was so high that they DQ'd her. Like, she couldn't calm down, so they sent her home, and I was like, oh. Like, I didn't know you could be DQ'd for that. So that kind of calmed me down right there, because I didn't want to get DQ'd for something as simple as being too nervous, you know. They tell you not to drink orange juice or coffee or juice in general, really, the first 24 to 48 hours before you go to MEPS, because they do take a urine sample, and if your urine is too sugary, it makes it look like there's something wrong with your kidneys. And I forget why the coffee, but that was the sad part because I love coffee. Anyway, they kind of kick you out because they don't want you chilling down there too long because you are there with other guests. And you go back up to your room, and my wake-up call was for 4 a.m., but they made a huge deal about not answering the phones if somebody calls you, so my phone kept going off and I didn't answer it. I'm like, I'm not getting in trouble, like, I don't care, I'm not answering, but it was actually the wake-up call from the hotel, so if your phone rings at 4 o'clock in the morning, answer it. So you get dressed in the appropriate garments that your recruiter tells you to wear, a long sleeve blouse if you're a girl, or just something nice if you're a guy. Then you go downstairs, you put your bags against the wall, you hand your key and your breakfast ticket to the person collecting it, and he asks you some questions like, is your roommate awake? Is your roommate with you? Were there any problems with your room? Are you driving? Stuff like that. I did drive though, so I'm not sure if I'm glad I did or I didn't. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Then you go through the line, you get your food, you sit down, you talk to people again. After that, they have 2 buses, and the shippers are on one bus, and the processors are on another bus. The shippers, again, are first priority, so they gotta go first. I drove myself, so I got to go and heat up my car, which was awesome. But what wasn't awesome is that you have to follow behind the buses, and the buses came to a yellow light and decided to go through the yellow light when there was 2 other people following behind them, and we're all like, what do we do, what do we do? And we all had to run that stupid red light, and I'm 99% sure there was a camera there, so if I get a ticket in the mail, I'm not gonna be a happy camper. MEPS was about 20 minutes away, and they tell you to hold your pee in the morning, but I can't do that. Like, in the morning, I gotta pee, so I did my business in the morning, and then I just drank a lot of water afterwards. And then you're sitting there on the bus, you get off. I was stupid. I didn't take my jewelry off before I went to line up, which is a big no-no because I read somewhere that a girl got DQ'd for having an earring in, and I just got my cartilage pierced. So taking that earring off was a struggle and a half. So make sure you don't do what I did, make sure all your piercings are off. And they make you line up in a few lines. Since I drove, I was one of the first people there. I didn't have to wait on everybody to get off the bus, so that was kind of cool. The hardest part of entire MEPS was standing in 37-degree weather, because it's Florida and that's cold for a Floridian, okay? So there was 90 shippers and 50 regular applicants, I believe. but the other people came at different times. But they made all of us line up in 6 different lines in front of the gate. We had to wait for the gate to open, then we walked forward. They did the whole briefing on sexual assault and everything like that. They made sure that you didn't have any weapons on you, didn't have any tobacco products on you, no piercings in. And then they sent the shippers out of line to go first, because first priority, they had to ship out. Then they made you stand in the 37-degree weather for like 10 minutes. It wasn't that bad. Then you go forward. If you have a zip-up jacket or a button-off jacket, they do make you take it off. So I'd actually recommend wearing a hoodie. I mean, you still have to take it off to go through the metal detector, but you can wear it throughout the day still. I was sent straight to my liaison, and you have to have your ID and your social security out. You hand that to them. He takes your big envelope with all your information in it, and he stuffs something in it, puts it on a chair. Then he told us to go line up against the wall, gave us a quick briefing until he found out there was actually something wrong with the last applicant, so he just sent us on a little ways, fly little birdie, and took care of the last guy. I didn't wait long at all. I watched a bunch of videos where they're like, you're going to hurry up and wait, you're going to hurry up and wait. I hurried up, but I didn't wait, so that was really cool. I know a lot of people didn't get that pleasure. So I went to Vision first, and I don't care how bad they try and rush you, take your time, because I was doing the colorblind test, and she was flipping through the pages so fast that I actually missed one, but I corrected myself, and she's like, if you miss one more, I'm going to fail you, and I'm like, oh. Like, I was concerned. Then they put you on this seat, and you have to put your chin down on something, and you look forward, and it's a vision test, but mechanical wise. And after that, she signs off on your paperwork. She sent me to hearing. Keep in mind, you're not going to do the same order as me. This is just what I did. I went to hearing. That's the only time I really had to wait. I had to wait for 5 other people, so we could have a group of 6. He puts you in this box, and there's 6 chairs, and curtains divide you guys. You take your headphones, you put them on, and you hold your clicker, and there's a little intro telling you what to do, but I mean, if you don't know how to press a clicker, then sorry. Then it's actually really hard to hear in there, because there's 5 other people in there with you, rustling around, making noise, and if you, like, brush on your clothing, or you touch the wires, just the littlest movement could sound like it's coming from your headphones, so beware, because you hear the person next to you clicking away, you're like, oh my gosh, are they hearing something I don't hear? Should I be concerned? But if you hear something, press the button. Sorry, my lipsticks are really drying out my lips. Then, after the hearing test, I was sent to I don't want to say briefing, but it kind of was like a briefing. I'm not sure the technical term for it. You sit in rows, and I was front and center, and this woman, Rodriguez was her name. I'm not sure of her rank, but she was pretty high up. She was running for major, so whatever that made her. She was awesome. She kept calling on me, though. I got all the answers right, but she's like, yeah, good job. I'm like, yeah, don't yell at me. After she gives you a briefing, she talks about sexual assault. She talks about if you lie, stuff your recruiter tells you. After that, somebody else came in the room, made us do a bunch of paperwork. He stressed not going in front of him, and this one girl, this poor girl, she started bubbling in things before he told her to, and he actually took her paper, wrote something down on it, and he goes, if there's anything wrong in this paper, anything at all, you're DQ'd, because you didn't listen to me. And that kind of freaked me out. I'm like, I'm not touching my pencil until you tell me to. Then he made us take a breathalyzer. If you're 21 and older, you can't have above 0.05. If you're a minor, you can't have anything on there. So I was told not to even use mouthwash in the morning, because sometimes the amount of alcohol in there can give you a false reading. So after you blow into your breathalyzer, this is what I did again. I went and got the urine test done, and about 10 guys went in at a time, but only 2 girls went in at a time. And you're in the stalls, you have to keep the door open, you have to have your pants below your knees, and she has to watch you pee, basically. It's not that bad. I thought it would be, but it's not actually. You pee, you have to do at least half a cup, then you have to hold on to your pee, but I guess they got backed up, so they kept sending in girl after girl after girl. That got so crowded in there, and you're just facing the wall listening to people pee, and that was kind of weird. Also, you can't wash your hands right away. That was kind of gross. but there's this little window that opens up right beside you, and they're like, peekaboo, and you're like, oh, hi, here's my pee, and you sign off. Then you dump the rest of the pee into the toilet, then you throw your cup away, and then you get to wash your hands. What they test for is just pregnancy and to see if you're on drugs. Then after that, I went and got my blood drawn. The guy who did it was super cool. I get kind of nervous about giving blood, but he made it really calm and simple. After I got my blood drawn, I went and had an interview with a doctor. I had my paperwork for everything, so he's like, this is supposed to be the longest part, and this is actually a breeze for you, and I'm like, awesome. I was only in there for about 5 minutes. They just go over all the paperwork that you did when you were in the briefing, and basically in the briefing, all they try and do is scare you. Like, have you smoked marijuana before? You know, if you lie to us, it's fine, we're gonna arrest you. All that fun stuff, so he's just making sure that you didn't lie. Then after that, this is the longest and most frustrating part, I had to do the physical. And with the physical, there was 5 girls in front of me, and that took about an hour and a half to get through. But when you first walk in, you have to strip down your bra and underwear. They take your height and weight. If you're the Air Force, they make you read this little passage. Then after you get done with that, you have to strip down to nothing, and you're in a little white paper robe, and it opens in the front, so you have to hold it closed. And you wait for the medical personnel to call you in, the doctor. After that, they make you line up in about 6 people, and they make you do a bunch of different exercises. There's a video that you'll be watching while you're in there that'll show you what you do. You have to stand on one foot and hold your other leg. You have to squat a bunch of times. You have to walk forward on your tiptoes, walk back on your heels. You have to walk in a diagonal line at a fast pace. You have to fall to your knees, and both knees have to hit the ground at the same time. You have to put your knees together, spread your feet apart, tuck your toes under, and stand up. And you can't take an extra step when you do that. That was the hardest part for me, or one of the hardest parts for me. I actually did not pass that one. The other one I didn't pass was the duck walk. I had never even heard of a duck walk before. I'm like, what do you mean I have to walk like a duck? I'm a person. Why can't I walk like a person? But you have to do the duck walk, you have to put your hands on your hips, and you have to squat, and you basically have to step in front of you, heel toe, and you have to turn around. And it was just very hard for me. I mean, guess I don't have good balance, but thankfully they didn't DQ me, because that's stuff that they've DQ'd people for before. So they just said, come back in 3 weeks, try it again. If you're good, we'll send you through. So after that, I got sent to lunch, and then I just went home. But if you're unlike me and you pass the duck walk and you pass the knee stand, then you get to go back to your liaison. That's when you pick your job, which is really cool, and I can't wait to do that. And after that, you get to swear in. So it's really not that hard. It's really chill. I loved meeting new people. Just follow the advice that your recruiters give you. Like I said, don't drink orange juice, don't drink coffee, because that could mess with your urine sample. Don't get too nervous, because your blood pressure will get too high and they could send you home for that, like that one girl I met at the Army. What else? Don't do drugs, don't drink alcohol. And just, I don't want to say have fun, because they don't want you to talk, but just go in there with a positive mindset, just breathe. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give you. It was quick and painless for me. Don't give up. If you're like me and they send you back for 3 weeks, that's better than DQing you. So just practice, and you'll be good. And I hope you all make it. So yeah, and I hope this video helps calm your nerves a little bit, because I was like the most nervous person ever, and I got through this. So if I can get through this, you can get through this. Alright guys, bye.